How's everybody doing? Oh my God, I got some mint in my teeth. Oh God. Okay, we're gonna jump right in and complete the compatibility and incompatibility of signs after taking a long pause and doing the Christmas gift for all of you, which was the interpretation of a birth chart from part 1 through part 7. So if you want a birth chart, before you get a birth chart, look at all 7 parts of my videos on birth chart. So when you get a birth chart and you pay for a birth chart, which is anywhere from $150 an hour to $400 for the package, which is about 2 3 hours, then all that information which you're paying good money for will go exclusively towards your situation and your own personal karmic condition without having to go through preliminaries. Again, that was the whole purpose of doing that. So for those of you who are serious in having a birth chart done, look at these 7-part videos. That's going to save you a lot of money. And then you come and consult with me with the more deeper issues in which the money then will be well spent when you do that, and it won't be spent on the preliminaries. Okay, so today we are going to discuss, and I want to say thank you for all of you who are still donating money for my GoFundMe page. The theater season begins on March 23rd, which is about a month, almost 2 months away. The garden that I run, also begins in March. So we're going to go gun-ho. Of course, the theme for this year will be Donald Trump and the whole mess going on in the White House and that damn border wall that he's talking about I'm building at $5 billion to Congress. Really? No. Go to my chart on Donald Trump. I did a whole birth chart on him and predicted his win. And, I also talk about what the end result will be. Ooh, I won't mention it here, but my website is up. There was a problem with my website from Vista point of end, but the website is up. Go to my website, read my entries, read the case stories and case scenarios. For those of you who want a birth chart, you get a feel of how I do professional interpretation. All right. Today we are talking about compatibility of signs. We are talking about cardinal air, Libra, and fixed air, Aquarius. And this is quite a relationship dynamic. But first, let us ascribe this combination in nature. Where do we find this combination of fixity of air and cardinality of air? Understand that when we're talking about cardinal air, we're talking about air that moves and causes changes and causes effects. A tornado is cardinal because a tornado will take your life, destroy property, destroy land, and all that kind of stuff. But a tornado can also be fixed because Tornado Alley is the only area where you see tornadoes. You don't see tornadoes happening in the East Coast or in the West Coast, only in Central Mountain. However, because of the consequence of global warming, this fixity of definition has now spread towards the Midwestern states like Texas. We've had now tornadoes in Texas and in Houston. Remember, in 2000, I think 16 or 15, we had some severe tornadoes in the state of Texas. I'm not sure of the date, but look at it. It happened. Almost destroying the city of Dallas. So we had tornadoes happening in Alabama. So global warming is changing the dynamics of how we astrologers are to ascribe certain conditions to fixity of air and cardinality of air. And this is a result of our global warming. But with all things being equal, we can still use this analogy. Okay. Another fixity where it means cardinality is when we're dealing with the Caribbean, where we have extreme heat with extreme cold crashing. And that then can create a hurricane or a typhoon if we're dealing with the eastern portion of the planet, or a hurricane if we're dealing with the western portion of the planet. Okay, this is fixity of air because it is located in a particular basin, which meets with current air that's moving. That's cardinal air. So when you have a fixity of warm air and a passing current of cold air, and when they collide in a particular spot, now you have a hurricane or you have a typhoon. So now the fixity and the cardinality are giving birth to a horrible monster that can destroy not just nature, because it'll destroy trees and uproot lands, but it also will destroy human lives, the sea, the air, and also cause destruction. All aspects of cardinal air, which belongs to Libra. I've always told you Libra was dangerous. And Libra, and we find this danger dynamic which culminates in Scorpio but begins in Libra. We see this dichotomy and this dynamic also in nature, and if it exists in nature, then it exists in every single human being. Okay, I have a little bit of what's called an orange infused martini. Delicious. As you young millennials say, delish. I gotta keep up with the trend, right? Uh, in the background, you see my altar. Sometimes they like to be seen. They like to be seen. They always want to be seen. But sometimes this can frighten people, so I try to keep it at a minimum. Here we have the Virgin Mary, right? I also have Virgin Mary in the altar behind the cross of the Caravaca or the Rosicrucian cross, right? Which is you don't really fully see it. Then I got the seven African powers, which is the line of power that I belong to as an African American or African Latino, however you want to call it. And of course, the white light, which symbolizes purity of purpose, which is my intent to educate and transform. And of course, the beautiful orange and yellow colors are attributed to Leo, and the royal colors here are attributed to Leo, which is principally what I am. Even though I'm a Virgo, you know I have a lot of Leo in me. So, and Oshun in the Orishas and in the pantheon of the Orishas, Oshun belongs to Leo. She is represented by Leo. Her birthday being the 28th of July. Okay, so this is also the expression of Leo, beauty, luxury, and all the thing that confers, the Leo sun. So, so we are starting the new year with finishing up with the compatibility and incompatibility of sign. So now that I mentioned the passing currents of how we see this in nature, how do we connect this with human nature? Right? How do we connect this with human nature? Well, very easy. If we're dealing with the Aquarian man and the Libra woman, it can be a little bit of an incompatibility because you have to understand that the Aquarian man is a rebel at heart. He's a rebel at heart. If you agree with him, he will find a polarity to disagree with you. If you want to keep an Aquarian man, you ladies, you have to really, really pay attention to his ideology, his philosophy, where he stands relative to society, his own self, his family, friends, and even to the one closest to him, his girlfriend, you. You have to understand that in order to keep an Aquarian man interested in you, you have to be sort of a nonconformist. Even if you play the traditional role as a simulation, internally you have to let him know that you're not really down with the program, that you're just playing a role, that you agree with him in every single aspect. But you cannot just do this just to placate him. You have to truly, truly, truly believe in the ideology that he stands for, even if it means going against the gradient. Because if you don't, you're not going to keep him. He's going to find a woman that will go and believe and endorse and even tolerate whether or not she believes it or not. A man really at the end doesn't know when he's being, stroked the right way by a woman. He'll be distracted by that. In order to get him to the point where he don't care because you're doing his stroking, you need to invest a little bit in what he stands for. And you have to be honest sociopolitically in your own stance, whether you agree with him or not. This you will not be able to lie about, ladies. And I know Aquarius is hot, but he's hard to land in the bed. And if he's easy to land, and I don't think he is, not even the gay culture, it's easy to bag an Aquarian man. Oh, no, no, no. Even those who are downright into the lust, deep down, there has to be a uniqueness about you that will warrant you than being intimate and exposed in this way. Oh, yes. Remember, the opposite polarity of Aquarius is Leo, the king. You have to be worthy to sleep with this man. He just doesn't give and share his loins just to be like anybody. And if he does, because the Aquarian man can be a whore, like the Leo man can be a whore, then we're dealing with men, young men. If you're dealing with young men, then really that spells it out. Young men are young men. Boys will be boys. But if we're still having this kind of psychology by past age 30, then we're dealing with a man boy who hasn't grown up. And when we see this in Aquarius and Leo in particular, know and understand 100% that there is trauma going on here. So, having said that, now you have to ask yourself, is he worth that derailment in your own life because he's so high and you're interested in him? Because at the end of the day, during the intercourse of getting to know him, you might not like what you see. You might not discover what you know. You might be disappointed because you're going to find out right away that the Aquarian man can be very double standard and can double dip. No? His greatest influence and power is to influence others. Even though he might change his mind down the road about his own philosophy and his own ideology. And then you're fucked and you're stuck because now you've invested in him. And then he might turn against his own investment and against his own ideology. And now where does that leave you? The Aquarian man finds it, he doesn't find it at all troubling to disrupt the ideologies of the individual person that he meets and leave it as shambles. Because then he might turn around and say, you know what, I might be wrong. I didn't even like it or understand what I thought I did. After he had indoctrinated that to other people that believed him. This is how cult leaders are raised. And cult leaders falls under Aquarius. You gotta be careful with Aquarius. Be careful. They're probably the sexiest men in the zodiac because the mythology of Aquarius confers that. It's not that I'm being like, gay and thinking gay, sex, and men. No, it's not that. If I'm going to talk honestly about Aquarius in every aspect, the sexuality has to be also described and explained. Because Aquarius represents the man. In astrology, the only symbol that represents man in the horoscope is two signs. Virgo, which symbolizes the woman holding the corn, the wheat, and the chaff. And Aquarius, the water bearer, holding the water. So Virgo is the feminine, and you see the feminine. I see my own femininity as I am a Virgo, and I see the feminine in me. And I see it in other men. It is the strongest in Virgo because Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and it is the most feminine sign, you don't see the kind of femininity that you see in Virgo. Like you don't see the kind of femininity in Cancer men like you see in Virgo. You know, even though a Virgo and Cancer, both Earth and Water, are feminine signs, while Air and Fire fall under the masculine signs. Okay, there's always an interbred and a homogeneity and a flux in between. You don't really see this kind of androgyny in Aquarius, When you meet an Aquarius, he's all male. Everything resembles male, masculine energy, and is extreme polarity. And you see this energy in the Aquarian woman, although it's not very obvious. But it does become obvious when she takes a position of stance, and then you see that Aquarian detachment and impersonality, so famous, that's attributed to the sign of Aquarius. So, but here's the thing. The Aquarian man will be so unpredictable, just like the planet Uranus that sits on its sideways, with the rings pointing horizontally instead of vertically. I mean, instead of like this, it's something like this, so it's actually vertical instead of horizontal. And we don't know in cosmology why that planet sits vertically like that. There is no scientific explanation for it. And we don't know much about the cosmology and the origin of Uranus, just like the planet Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. It is a complete mystery to astrologers and to cosmologists, the whole origin of Neptune. Uranus is another planet and it's a mystery, a complete mystery. So too is that symbolism of that mystery reflected both in Pisces as the ruler of Neptune and Aquarius, the ruler of Uranus. So you're already dealing with someone who's very cosmic and ethereal and otherworldly, whether or not they may appear to you or to us to be or not. Doesn't matter. That in itself is relative. The point becomes obvious and clear when there is an interpersonal exchange, and this falls under the dominion of the cardinal sign of Libra. Now, here we see a dynamic that is challenging to Libra, but Libra, being a cardinal sign that he and she is, always finds a way to figure out the Aquarian. They are fellow air signs. Here's the thing. Aquarius still likes to live in his head. He likes to live in his head. And he lives in a world of possibilities, probabilities, and definite malcontent, and the need to make an adjustment. But the adjustment never ends with Aquarius. Because the minute he becomes comfortable with an ideology that suits the rebellious nature of the ego, then he becomes discontent with that and fight the other way. David Koresh from Waco, Texas, researched that. That was his situation. Vacillating back and forth, and I have his chart. He had Aquarius and the planet Uranus and the 11th house badly afflicted. Remember, this man burned the whole compound down, killing himself and all those children and all those big women. Oh my God. Aquarius can be dangerous, dangerous, dangerous in his ideology. He is the symbol of the radical extremist and one that will abandon his own ideology from time to time. So there's no way to figure out Aquarius, especially the man. So to catch this morsel of a man, you ladies and a few gents, you're going to have to content yourself with the fact that this man is a dream. You have to keep him as a dream. And if you spend a little mustard seed of energy and time with this man, consider it a gift. If you want this kind of man in your bedroom and in your life, you have to go to God and pray to God to deliver him to you. Because that's the only way that he's going to be at your door. Your own power as a woman, or as a man, will not be enough. It might get him in the door, but it will not keep him beyond the threshold of that door. You might have his body, but you won't possess his mind. He loves all, but belongs to no one. And that is also true of the Aquarian female. But the Aquarian female figures better than the Aquarian male. at the end of the day, it really depends on the emotional maturity of the Aquarian man. Is he past age 30 or is he still below age 30? In a way, depending on his influences, his upbringing, and those that he respects and those that influence him that he deems respectable, those are the ones that truly hold the cards and will determine the fate of the developmental mind and attitude of this young man that will eventually become a man. So those that surround themselves around the young Aquarian man are the ones that really hold the keys of creating a great man or a great demigod. Remember, this is Aquarius. The intellect will always take precedence over any other human faculty on this plane. Sex for this man will be very boring if he finds you boring. Sex will be a bore and a chore if he finds you mentally boring or non-challenging. So if you're a woman that have your heart on an Aquarian man, you better pick up a book, bitch, and read something, get some current events, and really, really develop an opinion about it. Because he'll test you, and it'll be worse if you fall flat. This this is a courtship of sex to this man, the mind, and also the nonconformist mind for this man is the sexiest aphrodisiac, more so than grapes and chocolate and strawberry are to a woman. Okay? Fetishes and sexual fetishes and aphrodisiacs, that's all relative. What's a fetish and an aphrodisiac to you might not be for me or anybody else. And you have to think of a constant flux and change of relativity when you're dealing with the Aquarian man. The Libra woman is able to handle that in the Aquarian man. I'm spending a lot of time talking about the Aquarian man, so in part two, I'm going to flip it and talk about the Libra woman and the Libra man and the Aquarian woman. Because it's a whole different dynamic than the dynamic I'm describing now as the Aquarian man and the Libra woman. The Libra woman will be able to dissect and break apart this man. And she'll call him on his own shit if he really is bullshit. She will put him to the test to his own ideology. And she will do it with a smile. Remember, Libra is dangerous, especially the woman. So you won't see her coming. Her sword is already wielding in the air, but you don't see it because it's behind her back. And you're so distracted by her smile and her beauty that you don't see that she's about to aim towards your jugular. So if you are one of those men that are full of shit and phony, trust me when I tell you that Miss Libra will find you out. I will say this really of any woman. Any woman is capable of this. But you're not going to get the finesse and the class of having your face smeared in the dirt and in the ground like Libra can do it. Okay? You'll feel the sting of a Libra woman who's scorned by the bullshit of Aquarius or any other man. It's just that Aquarius is so convincing and so physically distracting that it can catch you off guard. You know? And for the Aquarian man that's aware of this effect that he has on people, he can use it to his advantage. The Aquarian man comes in all types. At all types. But his relationship with the Libra woman will be destroyed, that will break his back. And because of that, he will respect her. And a relationship with a Libra woman with an Aquarian man is one that will be made in gold. Because she will keep that motherfucker in check. Should, for any reason, the Aquarian man should be stronger than the Libra woman, it will be only because he's older and she's younger. And is yet to learn. Because the Libra woman, like the Libra man, can be very easily influenced when they're young. And they can turn either very, very bad or very, very good. It depends on what surrounds them and what mental environment they are being brought up in. Very important for the cardinal signs. And we're done with part one.